Using the same board ensures
Makes sense.
consistency and reliability. So you can have this beautiful hi-fi piece, but if your spouse, significant other, your kids want to, kick back in the media room and maybe play a sound bar or have a speaker in your office, you know that if I grab my app, that app is going to work flawlessly with every single product in the house that has this logo on it.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we are here at CEDIA 2025. We're at the Massimo. This isn't even a booth, Phil. This is an entire floor that you've rented out at a hotel. You've got some cool products, and today we're talking about probably something a lot of you guys aren't super familiar with, and that's HEOS.
Yes.
HEOS has changed, it's evolving, and so I think it'd be a great conversation. Let's talk about why we need HEOS, what is HEOS, and let's just break it down. So, man, thanks for having me out.
Oh, no problem. It's a pleasure. So let's talk about why HEOS. So the first thing, people like to have easy access to music, right?
Yeah.
And the goal would be nice to have music throughout your home, right? Back in the days, model homes, back in the 90s, 2000s, you'd walk to these beautiful homes and there'd be music playing everywhere. That used to be a very expensive proposition.
Right.
Now with something like HEOS, you can have multiple rooms connected and play the same song in multiple rooms, up to 64 if you want to.
Okay.
Or you can just have different things playing in different rooms. So HEOS is our wireless music system for streaming services and things like that.
Okay. So back in the day, like you were talking, typically you would have multi-channel amplifiers in a rack, and you would have speakers everywhere, and then you have to figure out a way to control all of those.
Exactly.
That was pretty complicated.
It was very complicated. Like it's funny, in my house I have this 7-foot tall rack with amplifiers all in it. We ran cables everywhere. Don't even use it anymore. So for example, in my house, I have something like this.
Okay.
A little Denon Home 150, and it's sitting in my kitchen, right?
Okay.
Then over in my dining room, I have a pair of these.
A little bit bigger.
I have a pair of these set up to almost act like a left and right stereo speaker in my dining room.
Okay.
And then in my living room, I have a 350. So the benefit of doing that is if I got one big speaker in this big open space like this, I'd have to play it really loud for you to hear it way over there.
Correct.
But if I do that, you can't sit here.
Right.
So by having multiple speakers throughout the room playing the same thing, it's better for entertaining. You get this beautiful blend of music, and then you could still hear your friends and family while you're entertained. Or if I wanted to, I could play different things in different rooms. We support things like Spotify Connect and Qobuz Connect and things like that, Tidal Connect. But one of the nice things about it is the HEOS app allows you to group all of your content in one location. So if I'm looking for some rare version of Bob Dylan, instead of me opening multiple apps, I can just type in Bob Dylan, that track, and I'll look across all the services that we support and find that song for you. So it allows you, instead of having to open multiple apps, to have one app control most of your music, the most popular music services that are out there. Well, we support, the main ones we support that most people ask for are Spotify, Tidal, Qobuz, Pandora, those types of things. For those who are in Apple Music, most people tend to utilize something like AirPlay 2.
Okay, so that makes sense. So they'll just have to use that.
Exactly. We also have the ability, if you want to Bluetooth it, you can.
Right.
But these days, streaming, pulling it directly from the music service is going to be much better. Back in the days when you had streaming services, you used to have to sacrifice performance for convenience.
Right.
So you could get the song, but the quality wasn't very good. Now, because internet's so much faster and people have more bandwidth in their home, the quality of what comes off a streaming service, a lot of times exceeds a CD. So you end up with super high quality music that you can easily pick from your song and play anywhere in your house.
Right. So thinking through this, I mean, they look pretty simple. I mean, there's not a whole lot of buttons on it. How hard would it be for the average consumer, the guy that's really just getting into this? They want some better sound. They got maybe their TV, and that's about it. How hard is it to set one of these up?
The setup process is very straightforward. Once you download the app, it walks you through the original setup process. Operation is incredibly simple. What we've done is there's always been the ability for us to have lots and lots of music services. But now we wanted to say, okay, it's not really about the service, it's about the music. So we went back through and updated our app. So the system has been out for a decade.
Right.
But we're probably on our 37th revision of the app because we continue to try to improve it. And this new app interacts very similar to how people use apps today.
Okay.
So it's very intuitive. So if you have used the music app before, you can quickly jump into HEOS and know how to utilize the app.
Okay.
And then, in fact, even on the units, you can't really see them, but there's buttons. Okay. So I can even do things like presets. So if I don't want to grab my phone, I can just walk up to the unit, press 3, and it'll play my favorite streaming music station automatically.
Sure. So probably, as a consumer myself, when I think about adding whole house audio, something like this, I mean, truthfully, I'm probably thinking like Sonos.
Yes.
I mean, that's a brand that all of us are aware of. How does this compare? Or like, what are maybe some differences?
Well, the two things is when I hear a lot of times people come in and they'll bring up a brand. A lot of times they're looking for a solution. Right? So if I'm looking for, a lot of times people say I need a Kleenex. What you're looking for is facial tissue, right? So the goal is, first you want great wireless music that's reliable, that's high quality. We can do all of that. But what makes us strong is, right here we're talking about the world of HEOS. Right. Yes, we have wireless speakers, but we have AVRs, we have a huge amount of options. So once you're involved in HEOS, and you can, there's so many other products you can add to the system, and you know it's going to work well together.
Yeah.
Because of Marantz and Denon and all our other brands. And if you see that HEOS logo, you know that regardless whether it's a wireless speaker or a $20,000 AV system, it's going to work well together.
Yeah. So with this system, like, price-wise, what are we looking at? I'm assuming these are probably pretty affordable. I
mean, you can a couple of $100 to get you into a wireless speaker, but at the same time, we go all the way up into, if you wanted a Marantz AV pre-pro system, it could be $15,000, $20,000. The goal is we want to have solutions for every application at every price point for every use case. Whether you want a wireless speaker, a sound bar with a wireless subwoofer, or you want a super high-end hi-fi piece, we have a solution. And they all utilize the same app because the quality of the app and the music that comes off the app is good enough for even our very best hi-fi pieces.
So most of these are like a mono system, but can I take, let's say the guy that has a living room setup doesn't want to set up a full Dolby Atmos system, but he wants something that's sleek, something that's small form factor. Can we do like a 2.1 system?
Yeah, there's a couple things you can do. The first thing is this is actually a little stereo speaker. There's a left and a right channel.
Okay.
But you can also opt to, like in my house, I can tell the app that if I buy two of the same model, that I want one to act as the left speaker and one to act like the right speaker. So I can have traditional stereo, but I don't have to have all the black boxes and the wiring. And if I wanted to, I can buy one of these for the left, one of these for the right, and even add a wireless subwoofer tucked away in the corner so it sounds gigantic, but you have to do it with all the wires. It's all done via your Wi-Fi network.
Are you able to do multiple subwoofers?
Currently, one subwoofer per pair is the application there. But if you wanted to, you could put a subwoofer. You could put one of these with a subwoofer, buy 16 of them, and have 16 subs if you want to. You would just group them together.
Right.
Some other things we've done is we made it really easy to find your music. So now the system is very intuitive. It helps you. It shows you your favorite playlists, suggestions from your favorite music services now. So instead of you having to think what music file you want to play, it'll give you inspiration and ideas. That's the first thing we did. Another thing that we did that I really like is now you have the ability to pre-group things. So say you're entertaining, you can have a group of just the outdoors system. And then you can maybe have the downstairs, and then you can have another group of the entire house, and you can pick between those collection of speakers at the touch of a button.
So you can control volume, control their sources?
Yeah, each one independent level, or can turn to control the level at all together. In fact, I could take a turntable and plug it into one of these and then stream that turntable to every other HEOS-enabled device in my house.
All right, so I got a question for you. Sometimes people come over to my house. I don't have a whole house system. I've got an outdoor system. But if they want to pull up like their playlist, their Spotify, it's not intuitive at all. It's almost impossible to get them to use their phone. I usually have them share that playlist with me. Is that something that with HEOS that they can do?
Can.
Like if I came to your house, could I pull up HEOS and sign into your network?
You can. Okay. There's two ways to go. First, of course, you can Bluetooth it.
Okay.
You can. But that's if I don't want to mess with anybody's network.
Sure.
So the other thing too is literally you could plug in a phone using like if you have like the dongle, and then from that you can actually stream that person's music throughout the entire thing.
Curious.
Or you just give the person your. That's the best way to do it, or AirPlay it.
Okay. So another question, you mentioned earlier, we could have this in one room, we got this in another room, this in one room. Mm-hmm. If you're going through the house, let's say my wife's home and she's cleaning and she's going into the kid's bedroom, how does that work through that process? How seamless is it, I guess, is the question.
The sync is so tight that you do not hear any echo when you move from room to room to room. If in our building, we actually have 64 zones of HEOS, just to prove the point.
Okay.
And so what we can, and as you walk around that building, it is perfectly
just a nice transition.
Nice transition. Okay. Most of the time, it do up to 64 zones. Most of the time, you can group 16 together at one time.
Wow.
And most of the time that's a bit. If you have more than 16 zones, I want to come to your house, right? So
that's a sweet setup.
And then the nice thing is you have, like I said, complete group volume control, but then individual control of each solution.
Gotcha. So to me, this is kind of budget entry level, but you know as well as I do, it never stops here.
Exactly.
We typically work our way up, and so I'm assuming that this is now transitioning to a lot of products.
I always say buy once, cry once. Once you get in, you want to make sure that you took what you spent your hard-earned money on is going to be able to be utilized in the future as you add more equipment. And the nice thing about this is you can start off with a wireless speaker, then go to a sound bar, and then maybe if you move into a bigger place or you want to go to like a hi-fi system or an AV or traditional AV receiver-based system, you could do that. So those pieces will always live in your system. It may just move from the living room to a den or to the kitchen or to another space as you add more products to your home.
So as somebody continues to go down this journey, there are some guys they're just audiophiles, man. I mean, they get into the deep of it. Are there other products that you've got that are along that line? Because granted, most audiophiles may not look at this and they're like, this is
our goal, like I said, is to make sure great solutions for everyone.
Yeah.
So if you walk around the booth here, we have something like we have a pair of Nautiluses here, and those that's a $150,000 pair of balanced and working speakers, and we are running that solution on HEOS.
Okay.
So and we're using Marantz amplification and processing for that. So we're talking about a couple of $100 up to well over $250,000. And because remember now with streaming services, it's just ones and zeros. So whether I use a laser to read the stuff off a disk or I pull it from the internet, it's still the same ones and zeros.
Sure.
So long as I have a good Wi-Fi network, which pretty much everybody has that can support this, the quality coming off these streaming services, whether it's Tidal, Hi-Res, or Qobuz, or Amazon Music, is as good as if you had a physical disc. So even at these trade shows, for these high-end demonstrations, we're actually using HEOS, not disc or physical media.
All right, Phil, I know in my circle with AVRs, as I shared, Denon has HEOS, has had it for a long time. Frankly, a lot of people know what Denon and that HEOS used to look like, and it wasn't really a great experience.
Well, the best way to think of it is HEOS has been around. HEOS is one of the first wireless music systems. We far were first when it came to it, and when it was first developed, it was more about look at how many services you can access. Because people never really understood you can have Spotify and Tidal and all these different services. So the original platform was more highlighting the services. But time has changed. Now it's about the content. So if you look at HEOS has been around over a decade.
Okay.
If you look at the menu system, the screens, there's been basically 4 major screen changes, but there's been 37 different versions of HEOS.
Wow, so you guys have been busy.
Yeah, we've been busy. A lot of it is to improve the performance, the reliability, the capability, the streaming services, and things like that. But the main thing that changed about last year was we totally revamped the operating system. We did tons of focus groups. We said, how do you interact with an app today? And then we went back and rebuilt the interface. So we had to make sure it was reliable, but we also had to make sure it was a joy to operate. So for those who haven't used HEOS in about 2 or 3 years, it's completely changed. Because I know people go, well, how much? The analogy I use is, if you're an Apple guy, I can tell you that there's a brand new Apple software. You're not going to care if you're a Windows guy. I'm a Windows guy and I just don't like the way Apple works. Or I'm an Apple guy, I don't like the way Windows works. Imagine if Apple or Windows went back and completely Control-Alt-Deleted and redid their interface. So it's not like the old one. So all of those things, it's from the ground up. So all of how you interact, the way you would select music, the way you would search for files, all of that has been completely changed. So if you have not tried out HEOS, please give it a shot. In fact, even if you have an older receiver out there, you can now, when you open that app and you upgrade that app, the app will completely change. So everybody that has a 4 or 5-year-old HEOS device is now not only gets more capabilities, more services, but they also get a better user experience. So we're trying to give you reliability, compatibility with a huge amount of devices, and just a better user experience.
All right, so Phil, we're standing near some hi-fi equipment, but what's interesting is, what I understand is, what we were looking at over there is still built into this. So walk us through that. The guy that wants ultimate high fidelity, maybe a 2-channel system, how does HEOS integrate with that?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we have our wireless speakers, which we talked about over there, wireless sound, sound bars and things like that. The next step up, of course, is going to be an AV receiver, and that AV receiver, we have HEOS built into the AV receiver for someone who wants surround sound and they want to connect a bunch of different sources and they want to utilize it in an AV entertainment solution. HEOS is built into that.
Right.
When you get into hi-fi or you get into music, you're not watching TV. You're sitting there, you're focused on your favorite album, your favorite song, your favorite artist. So now you're a lot more critical about the sound quality. And we still use HEOS for that because we built it at such a high level.
Okay.
So for example, this is our finest network music player. This is a Marantz Link 10N. It runs about $14,000. This is the best, basically, source that Marantz has ever made. And it is equipped with HEOS. In fact, this is the HEOS board that's actually in the unit. All of the boards for HEOS, we use the same board, whether you're using a $14,000 hi-fi piece or a $300 wireless speaker. Economy of scale.
Right.
Why make 4 or 5 different levels of boards when I can just make one great board and utilize it across multiple products? Keeps the price down, and if it's good enough to be utilized in a $14,000 hi-fi piece, it's going to sound great in a sound bar or a $2,000 AVR or a $600 stereo piece.
Yeah. And I would imagine having that same board in all of them, again, that integration, when you're going from one room to another with different products, you may not have, like this may be your 2-channel, this is your sanctuary, man. This is where you go at the end of the week just to listen.
Exactly.
But that's kind of just some casual out in the living room or the kitchen.
Exactly. Using the same board ensures consistency and reliability. So you can have this beautiful hi-fi piece, but if your spouse, significant other, your kids want to, kick back in the media room and maybe play a sound bar or have a speaker in your office, you know that if I grab my app, that app is going to work flawlessly with every single product in the house that has this logo on it. If I want to blend the entire house together and my backyard and everything else, I know that it's going to work flawlessly because it's all the same component in every single product. So that really helps with the reliability. And this supports high res, 192.24 high res files, double DSD, super audio, double DSD files.
Right.
So the highest resolution, all the way down to if you want to use MP3, but why would you do that, right?
Yeah.
So the big thing is you no longer have to sacrifice quality for convenience. You just get a good streaming service and you're good to go.
Gotcha. So we've talked about some budget-friendly, small packages, single units to put around your room. This is definitely a significant step up. This is audiophile quality. But what if somebody wanted like this audiophile quality in kind of like that setup?
Yeah, we find that all the time. So sometimes people I always say there's 2 types of listening. active and passive listening. Passive is you just want a good environment while you entertain, while you cook.
Right.
But music is not, or audio is not the main focus, right? And you'll see a lot of wireless speakers peppered throughout the house for that. The next one is passive listening. I am going to sit there and pay attention.
Right.
And that's something like this.
Right.
But often, sometimes people want a really, really great audio experience, but maybe they don't want a traditional looking component system.
Yeah.
Maybe they have this in their office, maybe they have this in their theater, but you may not want that in your living room or your dining room. So we want to come up with, give you kind of this experience in something that did not look like a speaker.
Yeah.
So if you go back here, we're really proud of these. These are the Horizon and Grand Horizon. This is the epitome of the best HEOS enabled or HEOS powered wireless hi-fi solution that you will see. So the goal of this is to give you a lot of the imaging, clarity, bass response that you would hear on a traditional hi-fi system in something that does not look like a traditional hi-fi system. So if you are someone that's really critical about performance and also you want something beautiful, this is a musical piece of art. Still utilizes the same HEOS enabled board that we talked about in all the other systems, same compatibility, but a lot more capability on this unit. So designed to be a beautiful stuff. So this is basically a 3.1 sound system. It has a subwoofer in the middle,
with
plus the left,
one speaker
right.
though.
Subwoofer in the middle, left, center, right. They may not like it when I do this, but imagine if I took a super high quality traditional bar that you see, with a left channel, a center channel, right channel, and I bent it into a circle, right? And then I took the subwoofer off the floor, because you don't want it on the floor, and I stuck it in the middle, right? So this will exceed the performance of pretty much any high-end sound bar you ever heard. It's all Marantz designed speakers, drivers, amplifiers to give you an immersive, hi-fi-like experience without having to have traditional left and right speakers and black boxes. But this is still an example of powered by HEOS. So we just want to give people options. What's the best option for you? What's your budget? What fits best into your lifestyle? And there's a HEOS product that will do that for you.
Yeah, I had a chance to hear this last year. They unveiled, you didn't really unveil it. It was kind of like NDA, don't talk about it, hush hush. But this was cool. This is, I mean, it's not for everybody. The price on this is roughly?
This one's $5,500. There's a smaller one. This is a Horizon. He's at $35. You have the option, if you wanted to, of stereo pairing them. So if there's another space where we actually have two of the big guys stereo paired as left and right, or you could do maybe two of these. These can be wall mounted. They can be on these easels like we actually have here. Just how are we going to blend them into your environment? And people are really amazed at the quality. We have found that people who may already have, a lot of customers that get these are either someone who does not want a hi-fi system, but they love music and they really care about how it sounds. The next one is you already have a hi-fi system. You already have a home theater system, but if you come home with another pair of black boxes, there's going to be trouble.
You're getting vetoed.
You're getting vetoed. I
love it.
So I have a level of expectation of what that should sound like. This is as close as you're going to get in a factor that would blend better into those types of environments. I call it deal or no deal.
I like
you know? And then the last one is we found a lot of people who are doing, think of it as luxury commercial. You want a beautiful thing that plays beautiful music that looks good in maybe a restaurant, a bar, a spa, someplace where you just want something that looks a piece of musical art. That's the third customer. But that's kind of how I see these products being sold, and I just think they're actually beautiful.
Yeah, no, I definitely love the design. These are showpieces to me. Like, this is almost like artwork. I think you had told us last year you could choose the different fabrics.
There's different fabrics. There's 3 different colors come with different bases: stand mount, easel mount. Funny thing, that meeting that we were at last year, my wife, I've been doing hi-fi for 25 years. My wife says my house is where products come to die. She says, if you bring another black box home, I'm going to kill you. When she saw this, she said, when are you getting your sample?
Wow.
So that told me that we're finally reaching a customer that we normally don't make. So think of it as if you look at that big preamp, that big Marantz preamp, that would be like a 911 turbo, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to carry your kids,
Yeah.
you have to have other applications. So Porsche makes other solutions, SUVs, electric cars. So Marantz said, we're going to give you as much of the Marantz experience as possible in a different form factor. But guess what? Still powered by HEOS.
Yeah. Super cool, man. It's been interesting to see the transition and really just I guess there's a shift in HEOS, you know, because originally it was just in like Denon receivers, and that's where I'd heard of it. So I don't personally have a lot of experience with that, but man, I can see the application, how this can go from just entry level to hi-fi to really just a showpiece in your room and still be able to have that seamless transition. So I think you guys are doing really well. I'm excited to see and even get to experience more of this throughout the years.
And we have more products coming, and I think you guys are going to love it. But the goal is to give you the best, as many solutions as possible to choose the right one for you.
I appreciate your time, man. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. We've got more content coming from CEDIA 2025. It's going to be awesome. Stay tuned. Hope you guys have an incredible week. God bless. I'll catch you in the next video.